Hello fellow Wasteland Wanderers, and welcome to another update. Yes, another big multi-platform game and another big bout of patches and updates are incoming, with the huge open world of CG Projekt Red seeing its own medieval tale within itself of updates across PC and consoles alike to fix issues and in the process improve performance and bugs. Bethesda has also followed suit with its second patch across platforms since its now standard day one release update. This new download comes in at around 512 megabytes, around the same total memory available for last gen consoles, now mostly not even enough to deliver the updates these days. So does this relatively minuscule update bring any improvements or changes from its outgoing version suffix? Well, as per my first look at the game and the early sections, it was clear that the Xbox One had the most consistent performance across the consoles, with still both versions dipping in the usual places of saving and sector loading at fixed points across the map. But this minor stutters are not the most common across play, with more action orientated sections causing more prolonged dips. But what we saw then and now with my further and stressful test is that when these dips happen, the PS4 version was dipping lower and for longer periods of time. With these identical tests, you can see that at the beginning Deathclaw fight, the Xbox One with railgun spinning handles the entire battle and mini nuclear type explosions with ease, hardly dipping below the 33 millisecond rate. But the PS4 does not achieve anywhere near this level of solidity, with it spending most of the battle near the 25 and nearly 5 FPS can split these two machines at times. The first thought would be the alpha effects are causing this, or GPU load, but as I mentioned in my first video, I'm pretty sure that this is not the case at all, but the same old CPU resource and possibly contention issues are the biggest cause here. You can see that even when I only hit an enemy, the damage calculation system causes these 50 millisecond spikes to occur, but when a huge car explodes we only see a single dip again from the inflicted damage, most likely, rather than the load. To put this into practice, the same patch 1.1 release here on both versions, hitting the wall causes only a very temporal dip on the PS4 at the start, with the smoke load not affecting a 30 FPS rate over this on either machine. But the battle tells another story. Now this continues and even gets worse in later sections, like the infamous Corvega factory here. Both versions exhibit the same streaming stutters as we enter the sequence, but once loaded and near like-for-like combat ensues, the Xbox One is the clear leader in this regard, with it again holding a much more solid metric rate. But overall, both machines perform reasonably well here, other than the stutter load. Moving inside, things only get worse with dynamic volumetric lighting, multiple AI and even more combat and damage system in place. We see both machines struggling to hold a 30 rate, but the PS4 is nearly always behind the Xbox One. But not all these drops are related to firefights, as the game can simply dip while walking through a door and is telling of the release game state being still a little rough around the edges. But to be fair, this is a huge and dynamic world with a huge load happening over time within the world. But a near locked 30 should be expected level to aim at, which on both machines is never fully achieved. But things get worse lower into the basement. Faced with more enemies and zombies, we have a section that again sees large dips on both machines, but yet again the PS4 loses out some 5 FPS over the Xbox One, with it losing around 17% of its target rate here, but the Sony machine comes in twice that level, dropping nearly 34% of its frames, with prolonged points at 20, again as I mentioned in my first video. You can see the day one stats on screen with these like-for-like examples. Now both versions suffer from these dips and neither ran what you would call solid, but throughout the game these sections, although annoying, do not overtake or swamp the game's performance, but an improvement and patch was needed, much more so on the Sony machine, which is just what we get here, and it is a revelation in terms of the PlayStation, with the Xbox One benefiting but to a much lesser degree, which is understandable as it needed it less. But once more we wheel out the Deathclaw battle, and the PS4 before struggled to hit the target. Now not only are the bullets hitting them, but the frame rate is also, now running a near locked 30 and much more in line with the earlier Xbox One release. Later sections also see the same level of drastic improvement, and the PS4 now achieves the same or better levels than the Xbox One in these identical sequences and as close to a locked 30 as you would expect. These improvements are across the board, with the Xbox One now dipping below the Sony machine in the very same firefights it was once earlier a good portion ahead, but the gap is never as large now between the two as it once was. But does all this come for free, you ask? Well, to be frank, no. We do seem to have had a reduction in visual fidelity with the loss of the earlier dynamic volumetric light removed in this interior section, which has happened on both versions. But other areas of the game don't appear to have the lighting changed at all. Notice the caustic reflections here are pretty much identical between versions, and this may be a bug, but it could be just a quick solution for patch fixing and obviously performance improvement. We'll see what happens later. And although this is a shame to see some visual reductions, it does seem to come with a superior performance level and is obviously a quick fix solution to increase frame rates, and is most likely a complete engine change across all versions. But other areas do perform better that never had these volumetric lights present or at such a high degree as shown earlier. So the team have improved the issues, and I would imagine later patches will come and may even see these effects reinstated as the team works with more time available. You can see the new level of the PS4 is now pretty much locked 30, and the Xbox One comes behind that now with a close second after this latest patch. But from the last version, the performance bump should please many and will always be a more notable change than the light changes. I will leave you with a few more minutes of footage to get a feel for the new patch, and if you enjoyed this or any of my other content, then please hit the like and more importantly the subscribe button, as that will help me to keep on delivering more content and getting more information to you sooner. Leave your thoughts and feedback below, stay safe in the wastelands, and keep the new rule clear in your mind. If the lights look dimmer, you could be in for a tough night. You guys and girls take care, and I'll see you very soon on the next one.